Welcome back to another video. I have come over to see this insane creation. I have a soft spot for this thing, with it being a 1400 horsepower plus Astra pickup, and if that doesn't spark your interest, I don't know what does. So let's dive in and let's have a look at what makes this so crazy. So here's the front engine. This is the tooth-free Saab engine. Talking to the owner, this is basically stock bottom end, apart from the pistons have been skimmed. The reason for that, he tells me, is the multi-layered steel gasket, or something like a B205, is very, very thin compared to a standard gasket, so you obviously get the pistons protruding the deck height, so they need skimming. Headwork, I would have thought single springs but stronger, because that's what seems like the Saab boys use. A set of cams. The owner's made the manifold, because obviously by looking at the car you can see he's a fabricator. Pulsar GTX 35, 3-bar to boost on E112 fuel, 730 horsepower. I'm blown away with that number. Bosch 1700cc injectors, stock inlet manifold, stock throttle body. It's insane to say that we, again myself, throw all this money at the Vauxhall engines, and this thing comes along, and as he tells me, it did 3 pulls back to back, making over 700 horsepower. External gated 45mm, exhaust out the side, F23 box with a diff in it, Saab subframe, and majority of, like I said, the bulkhead area is just standard Mark III Astra. He's obviously tubular framed all the front end. As you can see, this did have a full enclosed fiberglass front end last time I saw it, when we went to Santa Pod. Obviously that's off, because all this is now basically used for was to make numbers. Again, we'll go into that shortly. So now let's get round the back and let's have a look at the rear engine. The owner of the car, which is going to surprise everyone, basically was on the dyno last week. So I contacted him and congratulated him on making the numbers. Obviously, we've been the twin engine community, it's very small. The future of this car is, done the numbers, it's now getting broken for bits. And the reason for that is, in essence, he wanted to make the numbers, tick it off his goal list, get the power he wanted, so he can say he's built a well over 1,000 horsepower car and took it off his bucket list. But then also, anyone who watches my videos on the bump steer issue and the driving issue, they are horrible to drive, and they take so much R&D work to get them to put the power down, to stop the bump steer, and at the power levels of 1,000 horsepower plus, the money starts running away with itself, because you're potentially building 2 cars. Because at the end of the day, your 2 engines, like I say, you've got to buy, like I say this one now, it's got a clutch issue, it's starting to slip. So you're not going to buy 1 performance clutch, you've got to buy 2 performance clutches. And a twin plate clutch off the top of my head, 800 quid, and you've got to buy 2, £1,600. That's before you've started looking at suspension geometry, suspension settings, getting really expensive suspension to help with the power delivery. It can start running away. And the owner's basically gone, enough's enough, I've made my numbers, I'm calling it a day. But this is why I've rushed to come and see this, to show you before it gets taken to bits and converted into, as far as I'm hearing, single engine, DSG, all-wheel drive. So that's another one in the future we'll come and see. So looking at the rear engine, almost identical to the front, obviously just in the rear, This had the clutch issues, but again, if they would have had the clutch sorted out, can you imagine two of them at 750 horsepower, 1500 horsepower with ease on two Saab lumps? Specs haven't really changed. It's still running, I'm going to guess, the Saab rack, which is obviously the bump steer issue because it's on Saab. Suspension, it does run two individual water systems. Obviously, if anyone who follows my journey with my car will know mine's on one big water system. Fuel tank over the rear, obviously at a distance with a bit more weight over the back. He also tells me the pumps were running out slightly on the dyno. I think one of them was giving up because it's quite an old pump. He did at some point have nitrous to assist. Don't know if it still runs, but again, at the numbers it's at, do you really need any more? And it's on two, you can just see it just there. That there is ECU Masters Classic ECU. And some of the reason why we went with that was, if you're following my journey as well, for some strange reason, the ECU Masters Classic runs a second engine facility. So the two ECUs will talk together to power match, to rev match and everything else. I do have that set up for mine to go on. Probably mid-2024 we'll get around to that, just for being time. But it was interesting to know that he's done this. He was going to test the twin engine facility, he never got around to it. Have a look on top, rear intercooler, obviously with mine it's gone charge cooler. Again, this has been an engineering exercise for the owner to make a lot of power, to say he's built a twin engine, and basically just to tick it off his bucket list. So let's dive into the inside. Bear in mind, this is just a race car for fun, to have some entertaining in, make a lot of power and enjoy it. As you look on the gauge, two air fuel ratios, two water temps, two oil pressures, basically everything you need to see when you're running a twin engine car. Two rev counters, two individual starting setups, because looking at the gear selector, it's very much like mine, and you can run individual engines. So it can run front wheel, rear wheel, all-wheel drive, very much like my twin. This is the gear selector setup. He's adapted a cooler work setup to run with his, which again is very much like my setup. Runs the 4 cables, and they're all on these quick release joints, so you can switch between which engine you run. The nitrous bottle behind the seat, again, not much to really say. Ear defenders, because you're obviously going to need them in here when it's running. Firewall, just for a bit of safety, but as anyone who knows with my car, I loved it with no firewall, because the experience, the noise was fantastic. And let's have a quick look. So this is the other part of a twin engine car. You basically use twin clutch cylinders, and these convert the boxes both to hydraulic if the cable, my F28s with cable, these are obviously hydraulic. So as you can see, he's used scrapyard parts, Astra H, 2 cylinders, which obviously does 1 pedal, 2 cylinders. So how that works is, when it's obviously in neutral, you disconnect some of the cables off the shifter, put it in neutral, and it doesn't matter whether you press the pedal, because at the end of the day, it's not going into gear. And then he's got a little nitrous controller. Again, not sure he still uses that, but it was there for when it was needed. So what is super interesting on this journey of the YouTube I'm on is meeting people with the same brain set as me, where it is basically, it's not all about the driving, it's not all about the finished article, it's the journey, it's the build, it's the adventure, it's finding the problems and finding solutions. And people can't understand that sometimes when I say the driving's not a big thing for me. It's all about the build, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy it braking, I enjoy it repairing, and this is basically identical to that. To not even drive it, to not even race it, just to make them dyno numbers, call it a day and tick it off. That's my kind of guy. So we'll sign this video off. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be more crazy creations coming, and we'll come back and see this when it's single engine, all-wheel drive in the future. So take care, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.